Covering music-related content of all genres. If it filters through Eastern Texas, it's fair game. Y'all bring it. From Texarkana down to the coast and Dallas down to Houston and everything in between. We are ETX Rocks!
Hit the brakes!
Cut! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another brand new episode of the ETX Rock Show with Boston Chris. Guys, we're super excited. We're out in Bullard, Texas again at the beautiful Studio 333 and Chad Malden with Malden Productions will be sitting in with us on this episode.
That's right.
Say hey, Chad.
Hey.
And we're sitting in the studio today with someone we've been trying to get on the show for quite a long time. He's a very busy young man. This guy is from Lindale, Texas. He's won multiple competitions all over East Texas since he began performing in 2013. He's only been around about 3 years, but everybody knows this kid's name. He's won Lindale Idol. He's won People's Choice at the John Ritter Showcase in Carthage, I think. He was first in the Tex Ritter Roundup. He's played at the Grapevine Opry. I mean, he's been all over the place. And he's got over 10 nominations in the East Texas Music Awards under his belt as well. Of course, we're talking about the one and only Chris Colston. What's up, Chris?
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
So Chris is going to start off the show with a song. So tell us a little bit about what you're going to play and then hit the road with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a tune. Actually, Chad's not heard yet as well, which is kind of cool. And I want to play it for you guys. It's called. I just wrote this a few weeks ago. It's called "Sound of Goodbye."
Is this the first time this has been played anywhere other than on stage?
I think I might have played it in an acoustic show a couple weeks ago, but I kind of
debuting it right here.
Well, right here on the ETX Rock Show.
Yeah, this is debuting for sure.
Awesome.
Since you left, all I've done is watch the rain fall from the eave of this house. With every drop I'm constantly reminded of how empty life is now. I wish the world would stop turning. I could go back to me and you, a more peaceful time. Now I'm staring out a cold window, getting used to the sound of goodbye. Well, the sound of goodbye, so silent it can kill you where you stand. All the loneliness sets in fast. There's no time for you to change the past. You're left right there alone with tears in your eyes. It's so loud, the silence confuses your mind. The sound of goodbye. 3 days have gone by now. The rain keeps pouring down. Winter's closing in. You're Colorado bound. I wish I could have seen the end in sight. How could I be so blind? As the radio plays, help me make it through the night. The sound of goodbye, so silent it can kill you where you stand. All the loneliness sets in fast. There's no time for you to change the past. You're left right there alone with tears in your eyes. It's so loud, the silence confuses your mind. The sound of goodbye. think you're wrong or right. There's only one noise that'll haunt you late at night. Well, that's the sound of goodbye.
Woo!
All right, man. That was awesome.
So that was Chris Colston. We'll be right back after this with more with Chris Colston.
This is Katie Kennedy, the owner of the Liberty Bell located in historic downtown Nacogdoches. We would like to invite you to come on down for our live music, our extensive menu, including our brunch menu available on the weekends, and excellent service. We're open every day of the week except for Monday. We've got live music every day and drink specials. So we'd love to see you in Nacogdoches. Come on down, tell them Katie sent you.
So we're back with Chris Colston. He just did a brand new song, just debuted a song here on the ETX Rock Show. As some of our listeners out there, most of them really will know that I'm a huge fan of traditional country music, and that's why I'm a huge fan of Chris Colston as well. So, you know, you hear a song like that from, how old are you, 20?
20.
So you're 20 years old. So, I mean, you must have grown up with traditional values in your family.
Absolutely.
So, do you think you were kind of destined to be a musician?
Oh, yeah, man. Let me tell you something. Everybody in my family plays music. Like, my mom plays fiddle every now and then. My stepdad, he's my drummer in my band. My dad plays harmonica and guitar. My brother plays guitar. So it's just like someone's going to have to do something with it eventually, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think I was really the only one in my family, you know, that, you know, I don't want to say take it seriously, but, you know, like took it to the next level as far as not just playing on the porch.
Right, just getting together and playing for fun. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
And so I took it and I was like, hey, I don't want to go to college. So
I got to figure out some other
I
kind of
gotta
way to keep
figure
the
out-
lights
I
on.
don't want
Yeah.
to get my hands dirty.
right. Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. I don't want
Yeah, well, how did that work out? As it turns out, you probably get your hands dirty quite a lot.
Yeah.
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 So it turned out, you know, it's like, well, I'm not going to go to school, so I better figure out something to support myself, and what better way to do something you love for a living, so started playing music.
Right. So, I mean, as a young guy who has that sound, that traditional sound that's almost extinct today, I mean, do you find that it's, I mean, before we get into your background and stuff, do you find like it's really almost, you know, really almost impossible for a young guy to be like that last chance for traditional country?
Well, you know, I think that a lot because of the stuff you hear on radio nowadays, and it's very, very sparse to come by someone who is as young as I am and has that traditional kind of sound. You know, it even goes to like how I dress on stage. You know, I have, you know, I wear cowboy hats and
All starched up?
Absolutely, all
Yeah.
starched up shirts, starched jeans, and of course that's just how I like to dress in general. But it's a factor that people see, you know, they see on stage and like, oh, there's something different about him. There's no artist that does that anymore.
Right.
It's all, and to be honest, and nothing against ball caps and T-shirts because that's what I'm wearing right now. But that's what a lot of country artists wear on stage now, and it's just kind of the normal
Right.
now, you know.
I mean, do you find as a fan of music as well, you know, when the radio comes on, do you find it difficult, like trying to identify, you know, who's singing what song? I mean, everything sounds the
Right.
same now. So, I mean,
Yeah, it does when, you know, and I think there is a difference, you know, between the Texas country sound and the Nashville sound. I would say I have more trouble distinctively trying to find out who it is in the Nashville genre as much because everything does kind of sound the same. In Texas music, I think there's such different sounds with each artist. It's kind of like, you either know them by their voice or the sound.
You're allowed to be different. There's a little wider range.
and what's
of
cool
what-
about Chris
Absolutely.
Colston too is you talk about the Texas sound, and you don't really fit into that either. I mean, you're kind of all by yourself out here with your own kind of identity, and you know, really, it takes me back to the early '80s, late '70s, that kind of sound.
Right.
I told you in Lindale at the grand opening, and Chad, you might have missed this. I said if George Strait and Chris Ledoux had a kid,
Oh, dude,
this
that'd
is
be
it
so
right
cool.
here
Absolutely.
sitting in front of us. I
One-
mean,
yeah, that's
I'd
awesome.
love to be. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
I think that sound is ready to blow up right now. If I'm
Oh, I
being
think
honest.
people are yearning for it. You know, you see folks like Chris Stapleton and Mo Pitney and, folks like that. They're really huge superstars. So I think people still yearn for that sound. It's just when it's being pushed by people who aren't musicians, you know, it's
Well, and also too, if the last couple of generations ago, that artist, just because they're still doing it, that doesn't actually further the cause, because you have to have. I mean, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be doing it. I'm glad they're doing it, but you need
fresh
the
meat.
current generation to pick up that torch and to keep going. That's the only way to make it relevant.
Absolutely. So we'll get into Chris's background. I guess at 7 years old, you picked up your first instrument, and people out there might be surprised at the instrument. It was drums.
Absolutely.
Believe it or not. And it wasn't until 16.
Oh, really? I thought it was the accordion. My bad.
Oh, come on. No foreshadowing. You don't
Sorry.
know about those
Selling me
questions,
short.
Chad.
I had that wrong.
But you picked up the guitar at 16 years old. So what spurred on this change in your direction?
Well, I took my stepdad. He played drums his whole life, and so when I was 7 years old, I wanted to play drums. So I took lessons from Ken Murray and from Tyler, and he goes by Nardo, and he was actually he was Dolly Parton's drummer for a short time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I started taking lessons at 7 and played all the way and through high schools on drumline and played trap set, entered competitions and all that, and I still play drums to this day. But my dad, he would always sit around and he always played Blues Man by Hank Williams Jr. And I wanted to play that song guitar, so I was like, Dad, show me how to do it. It's nothing but like G, C, and D, I think, and maybe an A minor.
That sounds like a great song.
Right, absolutely.
That's the recipe for a great
it's
song.
one of those 3 chords and the truth kind of things.
That's it.
And he, but he showed me that song. I was like, I want to play that song. So I started playing, and eventually I was 16, and I was figuring out chords on my own just because from what my dad had showed me. And then, Mom was like, hey, you should start singing. So kind of took off from there. I started singing and playing guitar.
So when you started singing, is that something you really took a passion to?
At first I did not want to do it at all. I didn't. I was like, I don't want to sing. I'm not that good. Of course I was 16 years old too, so I had that mentality. So my mom was like, look, go up and try out for the Gladewater Opry in Gladewater. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm pretty nervous. I've never done that. I said, might as well try it. What the heck? What can it hurt? All they can do is tell you no. So I went to Gladewater Opry and tried out. I sang In Color by Jamie Johnson.
Wow.
And I was 16 years old, scared to death. And I've seen the video. I have that performance, and it is awful. No, but anyway, so that's where it started. And then I eventually got on that circuit. Jim and Nancy Ivey at the Gladewater Opry, great people.
Yep.
And they gave me my very
went
first
to church
shot
with- I
on
grew up in
stage.
church with them when I was a
Did you
kid.
really?
Yep.
They gave me my very first shot, and if it wasn't for the Gladewater Opry, I probably, honestly, would not be doing what I'm doing right now because they give, young people their first shot on stage. I think that's really cool.
I've actually sung on Gladewater
Yeah.
Opry. I wasn't young at the time, but true story, Chad. When I first moved to Texas, one of the first people I met was Gina Ivey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
So it's kind of funny how everything kind of ties
That's
in
it.
together.
Small world.
So do you feel like when you became a singer, you wanted to sing and things like that? Do you think part of the switch between drums and guitars was just that it's easier maybe to sing when you're playing on a guitar rather than drums?
Well, I think I wouldn't say easier because I can't, and it's one of those things where I played drums for so long, I had rhythm.
Right.
So it was easy to play guitar. And it was just the exact same thing because my rhythm was on point, know, just because I'd played so long.
Right.
And yes, and then it was okay, once I started figuring out my voice was it threw people off how deep it was for how young I was, then I was like, okay, I need to use this to my advantage. I'm gonna start playing shows. And
So there was strategy there.
there was a lot of strategy, and and it took me a long time to realize that myself. I had to have other people tell me because I was just singing, playing, I was like, whatever, it might sound okay, posting Facebook videos and all that, and people were like, oh, you're great, and eventually I harnessed it, my vocal ability, and then I started working on it.
Well, I mean, that is the thing that people usually comment on. I mean, even when we were working on your EP,
Right.
The great Milo Daring was here, and I remember just between, when we were breaking down, he said, "Gosh, and that voice." It's a high
it's
compliment, but
definitely
that's
one
all.
of the-
I mean, that was the thing. That big voice, I think, is what he said. That big voice.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's definitely one of those unique country voices too, and I mean that's why I'm such a huge fan of his as well. It's you know, it's like we said earlier, when the song comes on the radio, you can't differentiate it between one artist or another.
Right.
When I hear Chris on the radio, I know exactly who
Yeah.
it is as soon as
Yeah, for sure.
as soon as he opens his mouth.
That's good.
You know, and it's cool to hear, you know, a friend of yours come on the radio too. So
Oh, yeah,
I freak out
absolutely.
whenever I hear you or Cody or Darren or
Right.
you know, Sarah Hobbs and any of those folks that come on, and it's like a Wayne's World episode inside my car. You know,
Man, one time it came on, I think it was 105.7. They played it, and it was halfway through the song before I realized it was mine.
wow.
Yo, this sounds familiar.
Yeah, I was like, I was jamming. I was like, oh my God, this is my song.
Well, we played 2 of your songs on 105.7
Yeah,
as part of
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
award
y'all told-
season, which I was proud to do. That was a lot of
Absolutely,
fun.
I heard it. That was so cool, man. And then people like 2 weeks later, and they call you, you're like, dude, I heard your song 105.7 one night. I was driving. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. People.
So you
enjoy it.
trained under somebody who, you know, is just a musical icon in the business, and really, unfortunately, a lot of people may not know who he is, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to
Absolutely.
tell folks who he is. We're talking about John DeFore here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And how do you feel John's influence has helped you?
Oh, man, let me tell you something. John DeFore taught me how to write songs.
Right.
Period. Taught me how to write songs and taught me more guitar chords that I play now. You know, we found John, and I went to him, and he was like, he got me to sing, really, too, honestly, before, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I started going to John before I sang at Gladewater. So he's the one who
You showed up just thinking you were going to take guitar lessons. And
Oh yeah,
And he's
just
pushing
guitar
you.
lessons, but my mother's plan, you know, as mischievous she was, she was like, I know he can, you know,
Take
get
you to the
something
next
out of
level,
him. You know,
yeah.
he can sing or he can play. So I'll never forget. He gave me Wagon Wheel by Old Crow Medicine Show, and that was the first song I ever played and sang. But literally, he taught me everything there is about songwriting as far as song structure. You know, like how to write. You know, you got the body and the chorus and the verses and how to do that. And then you take a song into him every week, which I think I went on every Wednesday. And you take a song into him, and he's like, hey, listen, you know, like, I'm not telling you to change your lyrics, but maybe say something like this. And then it's like a number one hit line he gives you. And
Yeah,
it's just no
right.
big deal because
Right.
he's been doing it so long. But yeah, John was a huge influence. And if you buy any of my CDs or records, there's always a special thank you to John.
Right.
he's made a
because-
big impact on a lot of folks here in
Yes,
East Texas.
he
Yeah,
has.
not just Chris, but also Katie Lynn. He's a huge member
Absolutely.
of her team.
Well, a lot of
as
folks
well.
that have gone on to do
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
big
yeah,
things, you know,
absolutely.
Miranda and
Miranda Lambert, Casey Musgrave,
Casey, yep.
Casey Rivers, John Wolfe,
yeah.
a lot of guys. That
Yeah,
are
and
big.
it's funny to me, kind of ironic in a way, you know, that this guy who's right here in the East Texas DFW area, really, and he's had so many hands and so
yeah.
many people's success, and yet nobody's ever heard of him.
yeah.
You know, it's a shame to me.
Well, I'm sitting here saying
mean,
good things
outside
about him.
the
I've never
business.
met him before, which is a shame. I really need to make a point to
Oh, he's
reach
a
out.
great
Oh,
to
yeah.
dude. Let me. There's a cool line he told me one day. He said, "I want to tell you something. I never had a street address for 14 years." He said I was a traveling musician. Thought that
Yeah.
was the coolest thing
Yeah.
ever.
That sounds like a good line of a song.
Yeah,
say.
absolutely.
Write that down, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. I probably will.
All right, so you know, in 2013 is really when you started performing more seriously, and it wasn't long before you were competing in a lot of different contests
Right.
around the area, and then you know you're starting to win these things as well. So, was there a strategy during this time for you, or were you just trying to get your name out there as much as you could?
Oh man, it's always about getting your name out there. That's really what I was doing. There would be these radio stations that hold these singer-songwriter contests. Show up, you sing one original song, and they vote at the end of the night. You win. I mean, usually it was pretty cool because it was like $500 prizes.
Right.
So at, 16, 17, 18 years old, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
you
That's,
know,
that's big
Yeah,
dough.
absolutely.
I'm 20 and it's still a lot of money. But
Of course.
but
I'm 40. It's still a lot of money.
right? Yeah, but
Right.
they would hold these competitions, and it like there was one in Carthage, K-Gas, that I did that one, and there was one down in Lufkin. It was at a huge rodeo arena I did, but there was a spell there where I did 3 of them in a row, and I won 3 straight.
Wow.
So here I am, got a bunch of $500 checks in
Does
my
this
pocket.
kind of reaffirm what,
Yeah, it
your,
does-
what
no,
your mom and
absolutely.
your dad, your stepdad, your support system is telling you?
Absolutely. And, and I'm singing at the time. I'm singing one song, really, and it's one of my originals called "Guitar Playing Outlaw." It's off my. It's my very first record, and I don't even sing that song anymore. But it's just for my age then, I was starting to capture that deep sound. So it really threw people off. And so I was singing that song and I was winning these competitions. I'm like, I wonder how far I can go. Eventually it ran out. I wouldn't win. You'd hit a slump for a real long time and then you'd come back and win a few. So it's pretty cool to win contests. And yes, like you said, it did reaffirm my assurance of what I was doing because I saw that.
And it's press, I mean, it's just, publicity.
It looks good on your bio. You know
Of
what
course,
I mean?
of
And it's
course.
like, whoa, he's won all this stuff. And, it does reaffirm what you're doing. It makes you feel like, okay, these people are voting for you to win for a reason. You're doing something.
It's almost like building a musical resume.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it was.
So you guys out there, we'll be right back with more from Chris Colston, but stay tuned for these messages from Chad Malden of Malden Production.
Chad Malden here, music producer and mixing engineer for Malden Productions. I want you to go to my website to get more information. I want you to go to maldenprod.com. That's MAULDINPROD, maldenprod.com. And you can find out about me, folks I've worked with. You can hear samples of my work. Go to the website, maldenprod.com. Get any information that you need. And then also feel free to reach out because we're happy to answer any questions that you have or chat about anything that you want to chat about. Thanks a lot.
All right, we're back with Chris Colston. And Chris, you've had the same band now for over 2 years. You guys have never missed a practice, never missed a show.
Absolutely.
So introduce us to the members of your band. And do you feel that level of dedication is part of what makes the Chris Colston band so darn successful?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. These guys, the cool thing I will say about this is, and no disrespect to my bandmates, they're gonna think this is funny. I have older players in my band, and like my guys are between. I mean, my stepdad.
Yeah, they're all like 22.
Yeah.
They're so much older.
Hey, I do have one that is 22
They can
now
buy
that just joined.
alcohol.
Yeah, man. It's awesome.
Oh man. No, but my stepdad, he's been drumming his whole life, and I think he's 56, 57 years old. And my lead guitar player's 35 and my bass player's mid 40s. But the cool thing about having older players is they're more mature.
Right.
And seriously, like they're more mature and they've done music their whole life and this is kind of all they want to do aside from their jobs. So you have that dedication. When you have that dedication,
more
you don't ever
focused.
have to look for other players
And
or worry
they're-
about someone flaking out.
And they're great musicians as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
I mean, let's be honest about that
yeah.
too. And I love your stepdad, Tony.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Every
sweetheart.
time
Awesome
I
dude.
see Tony, he'll
He's a cool
always say
guy.
the same thing to
Yes.
me. He'll say, "Boston, we have got to get Chris famous because I have got to get him out of my house."
Oh, absolutely. Oh, come on. I haven't lived in the house in years. No, yeah.
Oh, man.
Tony is awesome. He has, the thing that's cool about Tony, he's raised me since I was 2 years old. And I still have a great relationship with my real dad as well. I see my real dad all the time. But, it's pretty cool because Tony has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4 kids of his own. But he spends 90% of his time with me because he believes in what I'm doing. And that takes someone, he didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? So I think it's really awesome. And the cool thing is that his kids enjoy it too. So like it's kind of music, I would say, brought our family
Yeah,
kind of
it's
even
kind of
closer.
a bonding element.
Right, absolutely. And so, but yeah, anyway, Tony
It sounds
Foster.
like you have that a lot in your life too.
I do.
You
I have
have for a long time.
I have a great team.
Yeah.
It takes, I've got Tony who's pretty much road manager. My mom Jan, she books the shows. She sells merchandise. She talks to club owners. I mean, she's like
She's awesome.
She's the glue.
Yep.
And and I've got this team behind me that's always like while they're at work during the day, they don't even like want to think about their jobs. All they're thinking about is like, what can we do next to push this even further?
Right.
So one day we can get our mailbox money from our son. No, I'm kidding. But yeah,
Mailbox money. There's that term again.
right.
Yeah, that quarterly
And so,
check.
I have a great team, but anyway, when you go back to the players, I've got Micah Erickson. He's on lead guitar, and believe it or not, I found Micah off an ad on Craigslist.
That doesn't
Sure.
surprise
And
me.
he's
I get
been-
that all the time on the show.
Yeah, and he's been with me for 2 years. Bad guitar player.
Yep.
He's all over the new EP we're going to release next year.
Yes,
And
he is.
I've got Scott Phillips on bass from Tyler. He actually graduated with my mom from Lindale.
Top 5 finalists this year.
Really?
Yeah, he graduated with mom in Lindale,
Know that.
and let's see, we just added a new member. He is one of my good friends, Riley Foshi. He's from Lindale.
He's awesome.
Incredible singer, songwriter, and guitar player.
Great guitar player too.
Yes,
Yes,
and
he
he
is.
plays rhythm guitar and backup vocals. And then you have yours truly on acoustic guitar and lead vocals.
And it all comes together amazing. I just saw your new guitar player
Yeah.
in Lindale. I was very impressed.
Yes.
It adds a different dimension to
It
the
does.
band too.
Completely different
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah. The harmony is really nice.
I love having dual guitars. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. So you were making waves as a musician before you even finished school. What challenges have you faced in balancing an education plus a personal life and a music career?
Right. I was always like I was good in high school. I would say I made great grades. So, I was an A's and B student, but I didn't apply myself that much. Like I probably could have. Like if I wanted to, I could have gone to a great college. But when I was in midway through high school, I started singing, and I was like, and I was making money at it.
So you
Like,
decided on a honky tonk you instead, right?
pretty much, absolutely, yeah. And so I was making pretty good money for my age at the time, and so I was like, whoa, why don't I just do this? People enjoy it. So and I love it, and just like they say, college is not for everybody. That was one of my things. I didn't want to go to school, and it's one of those things where I always say, I would rather do this now while
Yeah.
I'm young and give it a shot, and if it doesn't work out, quit way down the road, than live the rest of my life and not do it and say I wish I'd have done that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And this is the time,
Yeah.
no
Absolutely.
mortgage, no kiddies running around.
Oh, absolutely.
If you need to eat bologna to make it through the month, you
Oh
just
yeah,
eat bologna.
I'm
That's
down
it.
with
And
bologna.
plus, apparently, he's got 4 senior citizens in his band to take care of him. So
Oh,
the way
man.
he threw that out earlier.
Oh no, I'm gonna catch wrath for that. No,
Yeah, you are. I'm gonna put that on the link and everything. Chris Colston and the RF. What is it? The retired whatever.
retired folks.
Yeah, the RFA.
No,
Exactly.
but
Yeah,
anyway,
do you think that overcoming some of those obstacles at your age has helped you prepare for the future?
absolutely, I think so. Yeah, because it's made me. It's one of those things where I've realized like I don't have a backup plan, so I better work hard as I can. And there's one thing Miranda Lambert's dad said. Rick Lambert said one night he was talking to Sam Riggs, and he said, "Look," he said, "if you can't outplay them, he said you better outwork them, and if you can't outwork them, you better outsing them." So it's one of those things. It's kind of like if you don't have anything else to fall back on, you better work your tail off hard and hard and hard, and even past that point to where if you make it,
That seems to be advice that works for almost everything.
Yeah, it's always
Right.
hard work is
Right.
is the prerequisite in getting to where you want to be, and sometimes even that's not a guarantee. You can bust your tail and still not get exactly where you want to be, but
Yep.
you can almost guarantee you're not going to get there without the hard work. So,
Absolutely.
It may not be sufficient, but it is necessary.
yes, absolutely.
Right.
That's a good way to put it, Mr.
Yeah.
Chad.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you've gained a lot of experience in just 3 short years in the music business. What have been some of the most valuable lessons that you've learned so far?
Oh, there's a ton of those. I've learned a lot of valuable lessons. I would say, one of a good lesson I learned is, as silly as this sounds, talking to people at shows.
Yeah.
Because and you can get up there and you can sing songs, and you can go off stage and go to the back room and never talk to anybody, but that's not how you're going to gain fans or anything. You have to interact with people, and that goes is if there's club owners there too, like if the owner is there and you're wanting to make a relationship with them, you have to go up to him and be like, hey, how's everything sounding? Are you enjoying the show? And if they say yes, great, then your relationship's already kick-started 100% right there.
It's almost like making everybody a member of your team.
Absolutely. And so when you build that relationship with that venue, you have great notoriety already there.
Mm-hmm.
And all they're going to do is pass that on to people and tell them, hey, this was great. And then pretty soon there's a buzz about you. And then you're like, playing anywhere and anywhere.
Wow,
you
he's
want
20, Chad.
Yeah, well, I mean, music is about connecting with people, and so that happens through your songs,
Yes.
but it has to happen,
to.
outside of the songs too.
You can't.
That's it.
You can't be shy in the music business. You just can't.
The engagement has to be there.
Right, and that's what I learned. Like even going back to the Gladewater Opry days. When I would sing and everybody would be there. When I was done, when the show was over, I'd stand in a certain spot where I knew people could see me. Or they had to walk by me and they'd say something. I'd say, "Thank you very much," smile, shake their hand. And then automatically it's in their brains leaving there like, look, hey, this kid was great. He
Right. What a nice guy. Blah,
Right,
blah, yep.
absolutely. And
That's
so-
a lot of kissing hands and shaking babies.
Or maybe it's the other way around.
yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right.
I think it's the other one.
The other way around
Yeah.
is the way that you don't go to jail.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So yeah. Anyway, that's what there's probably 100,000 more lessons I could tell you, but I would say interacting with people and building a name for yourself and being humble. I would say being humble and you just have and just being nice. There are so many people out there, famous people, not so famous people, that are just they're not good people to be around because they put off this aura about them that you don't even want to be around.
Exactly.
And why be like that? There's no sense in. I don't know. I was just,
Everybody puts their pants on the same way.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And I guess one of those things, like you said, traditional values growing up like that. It's just how I was raised.
Absolutely.
So
when you're not making music, what does Chris Colston like to do?
Chris Colston was actually in a deer stand last night.
Wow.
Because he was off. No. Yeah, I love to hunt. If I'm not playing music, I'm usually hunting or fishing or I'm writing songs.
Loving every minute. What's the
Yeah.
Luke Bryan song? Hunting,
Oh.
fishing.
Loving every.
You just say Luke Bryan's name
you
on my
just compared
podcast.
that to Luke Bryan.
Sorry.
That brings me to my next
bad.
question.
No.
My bad.
I
This is
would
the
never
perfect
write a
segue,
song like
actually.
that. No, I'm
Thank
kidding.
you, Chad. Chad has no clue what's on my outline, but he just set me up perfectly. So do you think that the hunting and fishing and living the country life helps with the creativity and sincerity in writing songs?
Oh, absolutely, man. I was, it's kind of funny. Thank you, Chad.
Yep.
See, you can be here all day, right?
I'm here all day. I'm here all day.
No,
He had no clue.
right, yeah. No, but like I was, it's kind of funny. I was sitting there last night, and as country as it sounds and everything, I'm sitting in this deer stand. It's an open top, and I'm looking over this field, and it's getting dark, and like you can start to see the stars. The wind's blowing, and it's a cool temperature, and it's God's creation. So I'm sitting out there enjoying. I'm like, wow, I could probably write a song, and not write a song about hunting or anything, but it's like a peace that you feel, and you're like, your mind kind of gets clear, and you
Yeah.
start thinking of like, whoa, there's some line comes into your head, and you're like, I could write this right here in this deer stand. It's just,
And a lot of times that outdoor life can give
Yeah.
you the inspiration that you need, that quiet, that solitude to get that,
Yes.
that creativity out there too.
yes, it can. And so that's probably one of my favorite things to do is to hunt. Whether it's friend or I love hanging out with my friends. Obviously,
You're not hunting in skinny jeans, are you?
no.
So it has nothing to do with
Absolutely
Luke
not.
Bryan.
I couldn't fit into a pair. No skinny jeans.
I wonder
allowed.
what it was that inspired Luke Bryan when he wrote that song.
Right.
Because he wrote that song, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sure.
of course he did.
surely.
Yeah.
All right, so we told Chris Colston about Rapid Fire earlier before we started recording, and it's come to that point in the show. And we haven't been in the studio with Chad in a while, so Chad may not know
Yeah,
about
this is a
Rapid
new bit
Fire.
for me, yeah.
This is a new segment we started
right.
about a month and a half ago.
Okay.
But basically, you got 90 seconds to answer these 10 questions, and if you don't, all of your boots are going to turn into Crocs.
Oh, wow.
So
You better get these
90
right.
seconds. You got
I
this?
love Crocs.
Oh, no. He wants his boots to turn into Crocs.
No, not my boots. Those are nice Gators. I don't
Okay,
want those.
all right.
No.
So here's Rapid Fire with Chris Colston. All right, so would you rather have eye drops made of vinegar or toilet paper made of sandpaper?
Ooh, I don't know. I would say eye drops with vinegar.
All right, would you rather be able to read or be able to read minds but be illiterate?
Read.
Okay. Would you rather write a hit song or perform a hit song?
Perform for sure.
All right, would you rather change the past or see the future?
Oh, man, that's tough. Change of past.
All right, so would you rather lose $1,000 or lose all of your phone contacts?
Oh, lose my phone contacts for sure.
All right, cookies or french fries?
Cookies.
Would you rather have bad breath or smelly feet?
Smelly feet.
Yeah. Put
Would you
boots
rather
on.
would you rather wear a snowsuit in the desert or a G-string bikini in Antarctica?
What? What was his? Repeat that.
Would you rather wear a snowsuit in the desert or a G-string bikini in Antarctica?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like the heat, so I'm going with G-string.
Oh, man.
That's a little
Glad
weird.
this is a podcast instead of a video.
All right. Would you rather heavy metal or rap?
Ooh,
Heavy metal.
I guess heavy metal.
All right. So this is the important one now. Would you rather have a 10-inch long belly button that always sways to music,
Okay.
Whoa.
or would you rather have accordions for legs?
Accordions for legs. That's
No
cool.
doubt.
That's
Like,
cool.
100%.
100%.
All right. Last one. You can only listen to one song for the rest of your life. What is it?
Oh my goodness, that's so tough. Oh, dude, I don't know.
Who's that one by?
One
Luke
song,
Bryan.
one song for the not Luke Bryan, for the rest of my life.
I feel those boots turn into Crocs.
I would say Whiskey and Whitley.
Oh, great
Oh,
song.
wow.
Yeah,
I
that
would
is
say
a great
Whiskey and
song.
Whitley by Josh Ward.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
high praise.
All right, so we'll be right back after this with another great song from Chris Colston.
Hello, my name is Timothy Thomas, owner of East Texas Foundation Repair, located right here in Longview, Texas. If you think you're having foundation problems with your concrete slab or pier and beam home, if you're seeing cracked brick, slanted floors, cracks in your sheetrock, doors not latching or sticking or not closing properly, you may have a problem. Please contact us at 903-918-3409. You can also look us up online at easttexasfoundationrepair.com. We also offer drainage and waterproofing also. Again, Timothy Thomas, easttexasfoundationrepair.com. Thank you, East Texas, for your ongoing business.
All right, so Chris, tell us about this song that you're fixing to do.
This next song we're gonna do is probably gonna be my next single that we release after the EP. The song's called "One Dance Was Enough," and
Great song.
it's basically, it just, my girlfriend and I have been dating for quite a while, over probably a year and a half now, I think. And
You better get that right.
no, but I say I hope that's factual information. No, so we met at Cowboys Dance Hall in Tyler off Biloxi, and I was dancing one night, and I saw her walk by, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ask her to dance, and after that, she told me she loved Vince Gill, and pretty much fell in love right there. So
Yeah, that was it right
that was
there.
it, pretty much. That was it. So this one's called "One Dance Was Enough." If you know anything about my hometown, there's a dance hall at the county line. Every Thursday night the beer is cheap and the girls getting free before 9. It's where I saw her dancing a mean double two, and she looked up and we locked eyes. And on the very next song I grabbed her hand. Didn't know it would change my life, but one dance was enough. As I was spinning you around, let me tell you I was falling in love. Two-stepping in a light, I was hypnotized by your eyes. Caught by your touch, I couldn't get enough. Finally found my share of love, but all I know, one dance was enough. Well, the song came to an end, we went our separate ways. I walked outside to catch my breath. Well, kicking myself for not asking for your number. I felt like I'd failed the test.
Then I looked up through the crowd, and a smoking that angel was walking my way. She grabbed my hand, whispered in my ear, boy, I've got something to say. One dance was enough. As she was spinning me around, let me tell you, I was falling in love. Two-stepping in a light, I was hypnotized by your eyes, called by your touch. I couldn't get enough. Finally found my share of love. All I know, one dance was enough. I never thought I'd find true love under a neon light. Now it's time to say I do to the love of my life. One dance was enough. As I was spinning you around, let me tell you, I was falling in love. Two-stepping in a light, I was hypnotized by your eyes, called by your touch. Couldn't get enough. Finally found my share of love. All I know, one dance was enough. Yeah, but all I know, one dance was enough.
All right, great job, Chris Cole.
Thank you all. Appreciate you.
So you guys listening out there, he has a single currently out on the Texas Radio Regional Report called Blacktop Gospel.
Absolutely.
I think that is number 89 this week.
Yes, sir.
And Chris could certainly use y'all's help out there. If you're enjoying what you're hearing on this show, call your closest radio station right now and ask them to play Blacktop Gospel. Let's help our hometown friend here
Thank you.
reach the top of the charts. Again, that's Blacktop Gospel. Don't go to YouTube to listen to it. Call your radio stations. Make sure they play that song. And, of course, that song was created right here in this studio
Sure enough.
with Malden Productions.
Absolutely.
So Chad had a big hand in producing that EP. I guess he was the main hand in producing that CD. Chad's a very humble guy, and he won't tell you about his accomplishments and things like that. But there is a commercial for him on this episode earlier in the show. I strongly suggest anybody out there that's a musician to look him up on Facebook
Absolutely.
or at maldenprod.com because he does incredible work in all kinds of genres of music. I know that he's done country songs and pop songs, and so I mean, what was it like working with Chad?
Oh, it was awesome, man. It's great to find a producer who's, for one, it's a big deal in my family to find someone who's a Christian person. You know what I mean? And humble. That's who we want to work with, and it's been great. He knows his stuff for sure. He knows what he's doing because, if we didn't like the sound of it when it came out, we wouldn't still be here. So,
and what I love about Chad is that he hears things that even the writer of the song doesn't hear at the time. It's incredible to me.
It's one of those things, like he's not just someone who's just going to record you and take your money. It's one of those things where, like, when you come in here to work, he's gonna work you, and because he wants like the best sound possible.
We just need 4 more tracks.
Yes.
Four more later. We just need like 2 or 3 more. Don't worry. I'll get you out of there soon.
Oh yeah, dude. I cut vocals on one song probably 20 takes, easy.
Yeah,
sure. And it's just like because he wants the best quality for your benefit.
Yeah, and the great thing about Chad, he's very proud of his work. If he's going to put his name on it, it's going to be quality before he sends it out.
Absolutely.
So, talking about this new EP, what's it going to be called, and when will it release?
It's actually just going to be a self-titled EP. There's not going to be a name to it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and it's going to be released, we're thinking sometime in March of 2017, because, you've got the holidays coming up. You've got Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then everybody goes to Steamboat Springs, Colorado for Music Fest, and the charts freeze for 2 weeks in January. So we're just going to give it a little time, and hopefully, work it up and promote it well, and when it hits, hopefully it sells.
Well, I would personally like to invite you back on the show when
Absolutely.
you do release it. Maybe we can
Yes.
do some giveaways or something like that
For sure.
as part of
Yeah.
a show and get the word out on it
Yes.
as much as we can. So tell us about your social media. Where can folks find you, follow you, like you, subscribe to you, wherever?
Oh, for sure. You can subscribe to YouTube. It's just Chris Colston on there, and you can go to www.chriscolstonmusic.com. You can see where we're playing shows, and that will actually, if you go to the website, chriscolstonmusic.com, it'll have my Facebook, Twitter, and I think Instagram's on there too as well. You can just click the link. But if you don't have that, you can go to Facebook, and it's Chris Colston Music, and Instagram is Colston CS, and Twitter is Chris Colston 17. So y'all can follow me.
So you guys out there, make sure you follow all of those places. If you haven't heard of Chris Colston before and you haven't seen him in person, you need to immediately.
Yeah.
I would say, because
Yeah, and if you're in East Texas and you haven't seen him, you better get out to see him, because it's good. The time is coming when he's not going to be.
yeah, he
playing.
won't
He'll
be
just
here. He's
he'll
20
just be
years
around
old,
once
and
in a
he's
while.
got his own sound, and his sound is nobody else has it.
We'll be sharing him with the rest of the world, so you better get on
Very,
out.
very shortly, yes. So you guys need to come see Chris Colston while he's still here. And I know he's a very humble guy, and I know he'll never forget where he comes from either. So, but Chris, we want to thank you for coming on the ETX
Yes.
Rock Show. You know, I know you're very busy, and thank you for your time today. Guys out there that are listening, we want to thank you once again for tuning in. It's because of you guys out there that this show is starting to become very, very successful, and we appreciate every single person that clicks on the download link for this show. Remember, you guys out there, keep on supporting local music, and
ETX rocks.
Yeah.
we are ETX Rocks!